What are the challenges, 2 or 3 challenges in your life?
I feel stuck, and the areas I feel stuck around are job and money.
Yes.
And I've been off work for 13 years. I'm a retired lawyer.
The abundance issue, how is that an issue?
Well, I brought a fair amount of money into the marriage, and which has all been used up fairly. And my husband is supporting us, and I would like a grander lifestyle.
Good.
So, since it's my desire, I'm feeling like
Now, but I have to ask. So, you desire a grander lifestyle, of course. But is there notable lack of abundance in your lifestyle now?
well, I can't do everything I'd like to do.
Okay. What would you really like to do now? Do you know what you want to do?
No, and
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That is the problem. Because once you say, you know what I really want to do is go on a round the world cruise, for instance, then you just do. And all the energies come in to support that. And I'm not saying to put it on credit cards, but you make the decision and you find that the resources just come in to do that. If you don't know what you want to do, what they call the universe, I call energy, is very supportive. Okay, that's exactly what you're going to get.
I know.
Yeah, but as a master, you say, here's what I want to do. Let's say that you choose to open a school, or let's say a small school somewhere that teaches new energy ethics, something like that. Let's say that's your passion, and you combine a lot of what you learned about legal and the legal system, but knocking out most of the junk, the macchio that's involved in that, and talk about true justice, true ethics. Well, then you just do, and the energies come in and support that. But if you don't know what you want to do, then it won't happen.
And I have passions that are temporary. And this is something that I come from a family of driven people. So I'm usually pick a goal and then direct towards it. And I've been very successful at a number of different professions. And once I have one, I do just fine. But this is the first time I look at things and I think, oh, that's kind of interesting. And then 2 days later, it's like, that's enough of that. And, and I feel like that about a lot of things.
Yeah.
And part of it is a lot of things, it's interesting to learn about it or feel into it, and then that's it. Okay, I'm done with that. I don't really want to do it for a living.
Do you like to travel?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, have you traveled by yourself? I mean, like a lengthy journey by yourself?
Not in a while.
Yeah. Try it.
Okay.
Yeah, like when I said like a couple weeks on your own by yourself, it's amazing. Blavatsky and Kuthumi both talked about it in the Four Masters. Just go out and see the world. And if you're looking for something to inspire you or motivate you or to help you to understand what you eventually want to do, a trip by yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. I keep feeling a cruise would be so appropriate, some type of water journey.
Oh, I love water.
Yeah. My diagnosis here, you don't really have problems other than what next?
Yeah.
What next? Answers to a question like, what should I do about my job? An answer would be local and linear. Local meaning not really the big picture of things. Linear, very 3D, very dimensional. The mind, and it's mental also, local, linear, mental. So you ask a mental question, and then you're expecting a mental answer. You're expecting an answer like, quit your job and go be a natural healer or something like that. And then the human says, okay, I was told by spirit or whatever, but you weren't. It's just your mental answer. Wisdom isn't necessarily an answer, and it's not necessarily in words. It comes in a knowingness. And instead of a very specific, local, linear mental answer, you get a big picture. You get a big picture. Wisdom would say you go beyond the need for a job. Go beyond the fear that you won't be able to pay your bills or your mortgage. Go beyond that by trusting self and knowing that all the energy and the abundance is going to be there. Now, it doesn't say it just like that. It's a sudden feeling you get. Why was I in that job? Why was I so afraid of having to get a paycheck every month from somebody else? Why was I like a mouse trying to get a little piece of cheese when I am so much more? When my energy serves me, when it's not really a matter of should I change this job to get that job. It's not a matter of that at all. The wisdom is saying, what's in your heart? How do you choose to live? Because you see, you ask a question like, what should I do about my job? It's kind of meaningless. And the real issue is, how do you want to live? It's not about the job, but on a local, linear mental basis, you make it about the job and everything centers on that. How do you want to live? So wisdom in its own way answers, but actually without an answer. But wisdom shows you, gets you in touch with how you would like to live. And in a way, it asks a question back to you. How do you want to live? And you feel into it then. You feel into how the energies, you want them to serve you. And instead of thinking in linear terms like, well, I'll replace this job for another job. One bad experience and replace it with one maybe not quite as bad. It's going to challenge you and ask you, how do you want to live? And then you feel into that. You don't have to get specific. It's not about, well, now I want to be an accountant and or spend my life playing high stakes poker or anything like that. Suddenly you get the much, much bigger picture through wisdom. How do you want to live? And holding the scepter here in the flow of your energy, you already know. You already know how you want to live. And it's not about a job. It's not about, do you have a cubicle or an office? It's not about your paycheck. It's about how you want to live. And the wisdom will guide you to that and ask you to feel into it. And when you do, that's how the energies here in the river, the flow, that's what it responds to. The energies don't respond to, should I quit my job as a clerk at a store and become a lawyer? The energies don't respond to that. There's no passion in it, and it's not brought from wisdom. The wisdom asks you, what do you want? How do you want to live? And then you feel into it because you already know you want to live free. You want to live in grace. You want to live in joy and sensuality. I assume, maybe not, but those are the important things. The job doesn't really make a difference. That's a big question that you've been asking. Where's my passion? What do I want to do? What next? This is where people, particularly those on the spiritual path, tend to get kind of stuck or caught. What to do next? The human that's here could not possibly imagine what comes next. Even if you said things like, I want to travel. Even if you said things like, I want to paint or write books or whatever it happens to be. I'm going to ask you to let that go. Not as in destroying it, but just release that. Because what comes next is beyond what you could have imagined. For those of you who have jobs, you see yourself going back to your job, which might be for a little while. For those of you who are doing nothing, you might see yourself just doing nothing, at least for a little while. What comes next shouldn't really be defined by the human, the old human, because it would be limited. What comes next is going to come from what you call the divine, the master, the free self. And it's all truth, it's all potential, it's all real, but it's just something that the human, and all their thinking about it and then limiting themselves, couldn't possibly imagine. Not going to be like the old human condition where you got all stressed out. Which one should I choose? Which one's right? Which one's best? It won't be like that, where you chose from the perspective of less risk. It won't be like that at all. It'll be choosing all of them, or some of them, or any combination. It comes to you. You don't have to go out and figure it out. You don't have to think about it. Please don't think about it. Okay, if you want to just satisfy that little part of your brain, you can think you know what you want to do, but then keep very open to what comes to you. And it's probably not what you're thinking right now, or what you were thinking yesterday or the day before. It's probably not that at all. And whatever you thought it was that you wanted to do, you wanted to work on, you wanted to do for the rest of your human lives, just let that go. Just put it off to the side for a little bit to allow for what really comes next. It comes to you. Remember that it may not just be your human desires, it might be something far more expansive. Far more expansive than just the human needs and desires. It comes to you. The question is, what should I do now as a master here on the planet? And you realize it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter because you've chosen to stay. You've chosen to radiate your light upon the planet, to yourself as a human, but also to global consciousness. It doesn't really matter, and that's wisdom. It doesn't matter. Do whatever you want. Because whatever you do, you will find joy. Wherever you go, you will find joy. Even when you're not doing anything, you'll be in joy. You can travel the world. You can climb mountains. You can garden in your own backyard. You could just take long walks. You could start painting. You could adopt pets. It doesn't matter. The wisdom comes back and says, because you're choosing it, because you felt it's something that you wanted to do and experience, it's going to be in joy. It's going to be totally in grace.